And welcome. It is Best Bets with the field of 68. Three-man weave. Took a little day off. Much deserved day off, I should say. So they called in the bullpen, Sleepers Media, with a special guest. Not only Greg Waddell and Carter Elliott, but Carter Elliott's dog, Pierre, is in the building, folks. Pierre, how are you doing?
Doing good. And the only reason that Pierre is in the building is because we would have this whole show filled with barking because there's people doing leaves outside. So for the greater good of this show, I will be holding him in my arms, but we got the research, we got the bets. We're going to pick up the slack for three-man weave on an absolute loaded slate, by the way, I must say.
Yeah, before we get right into our games, we got 6 of them that we're going to go in depth on today. Let's just be upfront and honest here because, we're an honest show. We've always wanted to do that for the people. This is one of the worst slates of the season. No offense to any of the teams playing today, but it's fitting that they phoned us in for this because we've sort of positioned ourselves as experts of all things bad in college basketball this year. And make no mistake about it, these games are bad.
Yeah, I mean, we have our mid rankings, and these teams are so bad that they might not even make an appearance in the mid rankings. But with that said, that's why we do the research, Greg. That's why the numbers are there. That's why we have shows like this, because if there's games we bet on, we are going to bet on them. That's the motto. That's always has been the motto.
That's always been the motto. Cart, before we get right into this, any takeaways, any thoughts from the games last night? Again, not a massive slate. We had Arizona with a big win. We had Xavier with a big win. We had a 3-0 day for the daily picks videos I do, by the way. But anything worth talking about, anything notable? Wisconsin struggled at the Kohl Center.
They did, but I think the one takeaway, I'm actually going to steal Rob Douster's thunder a little bit here. I think that USC needs to be taken seriously in the Pac-12 for contention to win the Pac-12. Now, they did struggle last night against the UC Irvine team, but that's a really good UC Irvine team. They got some pieces on that team. That was not an easy game. So I think that a lot of people are always talking about, of course, the UCLAs, the Arizonas, obviously, because they're playing really good basketball right now. But people are not mentioning USC, and I think they need to be mentioned in that conversation that they could, potentially win the Pac-12 this year.
I was going to say, was it the 5-point win against UC Irvine that convinced you they're national contenders?
UC Irvine is tough, man. They always are tough because UC Irvine is tough because, one, you've seen it in the tournament. They've had some good games in the past years. And two, there's a lot of guys on UC Irvine that probably think they should be playing for USC. So they're motivated. So that's a tough game. But they came back, they won. There's some teams that lose at home.
Very true. They gutted it out, which is impressive. Look, I think my takeaway, if anything, which kind of comes from that USC game, is that this is primetime sleepwalking hours in college basketball. There's 4 quarters to a college basketball season. There's start with a bang, explosive first month of the year. Then there's the holiday stretch right before Christmas. People want to get home, get their little, whatever they eat for Christmas with their family, open some gifts, all that. They still got to play 1 to 2 games right before you can get home for that little holiday break. I think this is a prime time, especially from a betting perspective, to identify some spots where teams might be asleep at the wheel, might not necessarily be motivated to come in, at least in the first half. And then maybe they turn it on and, like USC did last night, pull off a victory in the end. But I do think there's some sort of between the ears spots that you could identify for the next 7 days, which may play into some of the games we've got today. So without further ado, let's get in to the games today. We've got Duke against Appalachian State to start. The line right now is minus 21.5 for the Blue Devils, over under 138.5. I know you like Duke. I know we both like Duke. I think Duke to me is still, if I had gun to my head to pick a national title winner this year, I think I'm probably leaning Duke. However, App State is not a total cupcake. They've played some good teams this year. They've played only 2 true road games against Iona and Furman, but both of those were competitive-ish losses, losing by 12 and losing by 8. They also lost against Vermont by only 2. That's a Vermont team I really like. I don't think App State is necessarily a guaranteed blowout here. You may feel a little differently.
I do feel differently. Like you said, App State, they've had some tight games against some mid-major teams, but this will be their first major step up in competition to me. Like Iona, Furman, good mid-major teams, but this Duke team is on another level to me. Like you said, this Duke team to me is one of the few teams that I think I would pick this year that are in serious title contention. They had that meltdown against Ohio State. I think they should have won that game. They got in foul trouble. They kind of fell apart down the stretch. Ben Carroll didn't have a Ben Carroll type game. I think that's one they just let get away from them. But don't get it twisted. This Duke team is crazy talented. I think this is an area where they're playing at home. They don't play for another week or so before ACC play starts. They don't have anything to look forward to, really. I think they focus on this game at home. And I think this is a rout, actually. I could easily see this being like a 30-point win for Duke. And I do have some stats also to back that up if you would like them.
Sure, please.
All right. So one, Greg, when I talk about this Duke team, are they tall? Are they lengthy?
Yes.
This App State team, average height-wise, is 304th in the country in average height. They cannot rebound, okay? Ooh. They are not going to be able to, one, stop Duke from scoring. But even if they aren't able to stop them from scoring, Mark Williams, Ben Carroll, Wendell Moore, they're going to get it right back off the misses, and they're going to lay it up and put it in. This App State team, very, very slow, 317th in the country in tempo. They're going to try to make this game as slow as possible. But I just think that Duke has way too much talent. They're not going to be able to get slowed down. They're not going to be able to score on Duke in the half court. I think they get out to a really early lead. It's probably around 20-point lead at half, and then they just rout all the way in the second half. I just don't think App State's on the same level as this Duke team. I don't want to overthink it.
Carter Elliott with the numbers. Folks, this is a historic occasion. I love it. I'm proud of you for it, and I love that stat. I have a stat that coincides with that stat. All of a sudden, you've swung me. Here we are doing teamwork here. App State has the 349th ranked 2-point percentage defense in the country. They're horrible. They give up easy shots at the rim at will, probably because they are so small. That doesn't bode well against a Duke team that is ready to feast inside. I think as long as Duke wants to win this game by 30, they win this game by 30. Again, my question is, do they sleepwalk here or not? And going back 7 years of Appalachian State basketball, they've only played 4 ranked teams in 7 years. They've lost all 4 of those by 24 points or more. It's not like those have ever been competitive. Not saying that this year's team is, the same as the last 7 years. I actually think this App State team is one of their better teams, but Duke at Duke, not a great matchup. So yeah. I think I'm staying away though. But you could you could text me on the side and talk me into it.
At a Pat Cameron too.
We'll see. Let's move from a really great team in a somewhat entertaining game to the 4th and 5th worst Division I teams in college basketball. I was trying to think of a special name for this game. I feel like this should be like a once annual occasion now. This is IUPUI and Chicago State. Man, I don't know who's going to be watching this game, but my prayers to you for whatever you're going through, that you want to expose yourself to this. Just some quick numbers here. The line -2.5 for IUPUI. IUPUI is 2-6 against the spread this year. Chicago State is 7-3. Now, some people say good teams win, great teams cover. You could argue Chicago State's a pretty profitable team this season, Cart. What do you make of this one?
Yeah. First off, there's a couple of things I'd rather do than watch this game. I'd rather eat a full jean jacket, just straight up eat a jean jacket. I'd rather mop the ocean with a toothbrush. There's a lot of things that I'd rather do than watch this game. But look, this is basically 2 teams that are, like you said, they're objectively just awful basketball teams. Now, if I had to pick one way, I had to lean one way, I would lean Chicago State, because I think this is a team that, though they do end up getting blown out, they've had some games this year where they've been close at half. They played Northern Illinois a little tougher, but Northern Illinois turned up on them in the second half. I think that if I had to lean one way on this game, I'm leaning Chicago State. And if you want to do a little money line sprinkle on Chicago State, I wouldn't be mad at you. Some team has to win this game. This isn't the Detroit Lions versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. It won't end in a tie. One of these terrible teams has to win this game. So if you are into this, betting on this game, I'm leaning Chicago State, plus 2.5 on this game. And if I did anything, I'd probably sprinkle a little on Chicago State money line as well.
Carter, you and I have been friends, have been betting teammates, you could say, for years. I'd like to ask you, what do you think is one of my biggest strengths as a bettor?
Your biggest strengths?
Yeah. What's one of my biggest strengths as a bettor? put you on the
Let's
spot here, but
okay. Betting on teams that have players with dope names.
that's very true. That's on brand. I would argue one of my other biggest strengths as a bettor is learning from my mistakes. And that's what I'm gonna do with this game. There was a game earlier this week that I was so daring to call free money. I said it was my favorite play of the year. That play would have been Alabama -3.5 at Memphis. Everyone was concerned it was a sucker play except for me. Everything I've seen this season, all the research, all the numbers told me that was going to be a blowout Alabama win. It was never even competitive. Once the second half hit, Memphis ran them out of the gym. Car, this is what I'm going to do today because, like you said, all of my research points me toward Chicago State. They're 7-3 against the spread. They have 3 wins at home this year. This is not a home game, but at least they've won some games, and their losses have been a lot more competitive games than IUPUI's have. IUPUI has not beaten a Division I opponent this season. They get blown out almost every single game against teams in the 200s on KenPom. I don't think there's anything to like from this IUPUI roster. Their leading scorers ridiculously inefficient. They only have one guy who scores in double digits. It seems obvious to me that we might as well just take Chicago State, who has something to point to and is getting the points here. However, when it's obvious, we're not going to do it because that Alabama-Memphis game, Cart, the smart people, the computers, the metrics told me ahead of time, you should take Memphis. And I laughed in KenPom's face. I laughed in our friend Evan Miyakawa's face. I said, I know better than you. Cart, today, Evan Miyakawa's game predictor model has IUPUI by 6.5. That's a 4-point discrepancy from this line. I don't know what his model knows because I don't know how IUPUI could be favored by 6.5 against anyone. All I know is I'm learning from my mistakes and I'm going with it. And I am playing IUPUI.
I'm not proud of you right now because let's just touch on that Memphis Alabama game real quick. That's not a sucker bet. Okay. That's called doing all the right research. And that's just it happens. That's betting. You did all the right things. Sometimes the shots and the bets just don't fall. You did the right thing. Now I can't go against Evan because 1, he's way smarter than me. And 2, I have no idea how he actually breaks that down. So I just got to kind of take his word for it. He could be doing anything out there. I'm on the Kevin Durant train who wants to look at grass when talking about hoop. But at the same time, it's proven. I do love numbers. But I think I'm going against you on this one, G. My gut and the numbers tell me to go to Chicago State. KenPom might not, but my gut tells me to go Chicago State.
All right, we're on opposite sides. One thing I know, if you are going to watch this game, you better bet on this game. Otherwise, really, what is the point? And if you do bet, please do so through our friends at BetRivers. Moving to game 3, Car, we've got Drake against Jackson State. The line I see right now is Drake -16, over under 127. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm just glad, first of all, that you realize that Drake playing Jackson State and not Jacksonville State, like you texted me earlier.
So what are we doing today? We're exposing secrets here, mistakes.
Sorry, my fault. Let's not do that. This is best bets, not air out, not an air out episode. But look, Drake at -16 is where I would lean on this game. Jackson State is offensively as abysmal as a team in the country. They average 56 points a game. They're shooting 37% from the field, 63% from the free throw line, and 33% on 3-pointers. Like, this is a team that cannot score the basketball. To me right now, this is 2 teams that are going opposite directions. I think that Drake started off a little slow this year, but they had high expectations coming into the year. They have a senior laden team. And I think these are 2 teams trending in different directions. Jackson State's trending down while Drake is trending up. They had a tough game. I thought they could have pulled it out against Clemson, but they had a couple mistakes down the stretch, but they could have won that game against a pretty good Clemson team. I just don't think that Jackson State will be able to score enough points to keep up with Drake. So I'm leaning Drake -16 on this game. And there's no possible way you're about to come back at me and tell me that I should bet on Jackson State +16, right?
I'm not. But before I get into my analysis for this game, how do you think Brittany Renner factors into this matchup?
I did write on my notes Deion Sanders. That's it.
I mean, there's something we have to acknowledge there. Look, this Drake team, to me, is a notable team. I think they're good. I will not be surprised if this team finds a way to make the NCAA tournament. They beat a Richmond team that I'm pretty high on earlier this season. They have single-digit losses to Belmont, Alabama. They went to overtime with Clemson. Like, this team's been competitive against good teams. That's a lot more than you can say for Jackson State. However, if there was a play here for me, because I don't really like that number at 16, I think Drake should blow them out, but that 16 number is a weird number to me. If there was a play, I would lean the under here, which is the opposite of where the money is being bet right now. It's going up and it's at 127 right now. I just, like you said, I don't know how Jackson State scores in this game. Their last 3 games against Iowa State and Northern Iowa and Illinois State all went under 126 for what it's worth.
They had 37 in that Iowa State game, by the way. 37 points.
Yeah, and Iowa State and Northern Iowa are,
I
don't want to say they're similar, but like statistically, offensively, their profile is not very different from Drake to me. So I don't know. I just think Jackson State can't score. At least the last 3 games, they haven't been able to score. Why not just double down on that? But really, it's probably a stay away. I don't really lean strongly either side here.
Yeah, I was trying to talk myself. I came into this bet on this research trying to talk myself into Jackson State just because I thought I thought it'd be higher than 16, to be honest. I thought it'd be in the 20s. But yeah, if I had to lean one way, I would lean Drake. Also love the under, like I mentioned, because this Jackson State team, like I just stated those numbers, they are very, very bad on offense. And some of these offensive performances are coming against teams that aren't that great at defense either. So yeah, under will definitely be a good play as well. I like that.
All right, let's get to some questions from the chat mob. If you would like to submit a question, please do. You can do so on the Field of 68 Best Bets YouTube channel. In about a month, I believe, in January, we're going to be moving all of the Best Bets shows specifically to the Best Bets channel. So make sure you subscribe to that so that you don't miss out on any of these shows on a daily basis. Question number 1, Cart. Will Stanford go over? We're going to get to the Stanford game after this, but the line for the over-under is 131. You have any thoughts on that?
Oh, I think do I have to pick, or can I just say I would stay away?
Keep it honest with the people. That's what my expectation is of you.
Okay, I go over in that game. I would, because if I'm watching a game like Stanford and Dartmouth, I want to see points anyway. So if I'm betting the over, there's no way I'm trying to see an under in that basketball game. That is literally the only reason. I know that's not great research, but not everyone can be 3-man week.
Yeah, that's a want to, not necessarily a lean one way or the other. I think I have a play against the spread on that game that we'll get to, but I don't have anything that I feel extremely strong about as far as the over-under goes. So thank you for that question. Question number 2, national title future value, Baylor plus 700. Any value there?
Definitely value there. This Baylor team is just, a lot of people pointed out how they're underrated coming into this year. Now, I still would take last year's team over them. Don't get me wrong, but this team is not far off. They play extremely well on the defensive end. I love Akinjo, love Kendall Brown, Sochan, the freshman, starting to show some things as well off the bench, which I think can only help this team improve, because I think depth was an issue coming into the year. But if you have some of those guys coming along faster than you thought coming into the year, it bodes very well for them. Drew was an amazing coach. I really like this team. And Thamba is his last name, I believe. That's center. I love that dude because he wears.
Thamba,
yeah, I love that dude. Wears long sleeves. Will do anything. Will die for the Baylor logo. I don't think he's a Mark Vital type player, but he has that Mark Vital energy to him, and he's just willing out there to put it all on the floor and do whatever for his team to win. So I really like this Baylor team. That game against Villanova was a statement. Like, they put those dudes in the torture chamber. So there is great value in betting on a Baylor team this year, in a year where you could probably say, like, is there a clear-cut number 1 team? Not really. So there's some good value right there in that Baylor team.
Yeah, there is no number 1 team this year. That's my running agenda. And I fear for Baylor that if they are the next number 1, they're going to meet the same end that all the other number 1s have so far. But I don't mind them as a futures bet. I would not really lean anywhere on a futures national title bet right now, because I think it's too wide open of a year. I prefer some conference favorites. For example, Duke to win the ACC is still plus money right now. waiting for someone to make that make sense to me.
That is the easiest money you will make all year.
It really is. All right, let's do some rapid fire because we do have a couple more in the comments. Chicago State money line was asked. We kind of already hit on that one. You're going to sprinkle, correct?
Yes, I am.
All right. And then just again, shout out Evan Miyakawa. He's talking about his model having that tasty magic and calls IUPUI a lock. He hasn't been wrong, at least in my eyes this season. Have we covered Tennessee State versus Charleston Southern? We have not. And to be completely honest, I have no intel on that game whatsoever. Apologies, Andrew Carr. I'm guessing you're the same on that one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I would feel bad right now because I had something cooking in my head right when you said that game about some stats or something to pull up for you, but I don't want to do that to you because 3-man weave and the boys wouldn't do that to you. So I refuse to do that to you. I got nothing on that game.
And final question here, UMBC, is it going over? That line is at 137 right now. We're going to get to UMBC as our final featured game of the day today. I actually do like an against the spread play for that one as well that I think might lean me one way or the other on the over-under. But if it was, it would be the under, and we'll get to that in a little bit more. Cart, anything from you on that?
I think I'll save it for when we get to it.
Okay. Lovely. All right, let's move to the final three games that we've got today, beginning with Oral Roberts hosting UT Arlington. Oral Roberts has been on my short list of favorite teams to bet, Cart. You know this. I'm always looking for a way to talk myself into them, and I think I've done so again today. Where do you stand on this one?
Greg, you pointed out earlier when you asked me what was one of your betting trends. Well, let me give you all a little insight on one of my betting trends. When you have a game and you have a team who has the best player on the floor, lean that way. Players make plays. Players get baskets. I love Oral Roberts minus 7.5 in this game. Some numbers here. They're averaging 82 points a game. I don't think this UT Arlington team is going to be able to stop them necessarily. I don't think they're going to be able to keep up offensively. And I think it's a team where they're going to be trying to play more so Oral Roberts style and try to get up with them up and down offensively. And that's not how you beat this team. You can't play their same game. They do their game and putting up buckets way too well. The Golden Eagles are 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 home games. I just think that they're going to run away with this. Or not run away, but I think at 7.5, I think this will be a double-digit win for them because UT Arlington is not going to be able to keep up with them offensively. Way too much firepower.
Yeah, I think it should be. My research led me to some discoveries here. UT Arlington is horrible from 3, and their opponents are not horrible from 3. Their opponents are really good from 3 against them. On average, they give up 6 more 3 attempts per game than they shoot. Their best player, David Azor, he's the only guy in double figures. He's shooting 33% from the floor and 12% from 3. Oral Roberts has a ton of shooters. I just think like the game script of this one is going to lead Oral Roberts to playing the style they want to play. I wouldn't be surprised if they get up 30 plus threes in this game. And if you're UT Arlington, like I went through the games that they've won, they've limited 3-point attempts pretty well in those games. You don't limit Oral Roberts 3-point attempts. They've gotten blown out in every game where teams shoot 20 plus threes against them. So I think this is just a good matchup for Oral Roberts. Like you said, the minus 7.5 number doesn't really spook me as long as they take care of business. Max Asmus does his thing. I think this should be a double-digit win.
Against the spread numbers back that too for people who do like the numbers. In the last 11 games, Oral Roberts 10-3. UT Arlington in their last 8 games, 1-7. In their last 14 road games, 4-10. They're not good against the spread. Don't overthink it. Do not be scared. I know when it gets in that 7 or 6 to like 10 range, 6 to 10 range, people get scared sometimes. Sometimes you just don't want to overthink it. Like last night with Belmont at -6. Cash the ticket. You're good to go. Like if the numbers back it and the team is good enough and you don't think the team they're playing against can come up with a game plan to play the team they're playing, like don't be scared of it. Oral Roberts minus 7.5.
Yeah, and because of those numbers against the spread card, that's why we love betting Oral Roberts, and we're going to continue to do so. Yeah. Game number 5 today, Stanford against Dartmouth. The line that I see right now is -13. I believe it opened at -13.5. So some money coming in on Dartmouth. The over-under is 131 right now. Stanford, on the sleepers mid rankings, meaning that they are a bad team. They are a team that we feel good poking fun at, to the point that we will rank them nationally on a list among other things that we think are laughably bad right now. However, they just won the mid bowl against Oregon, Cart, which is a pretty massive development for them. I don't know that you can say Stanford's playing well now or has figured things out, but they did enough to beat a really bad team in Oregon. What do you make of this one? Laying 13 points is a lot for a Stanford team.
Yeah, to me, it's just too much for this Stanford team. I know that was a big win against, or I don't even know if I want to call it a big win, to be honest, because we bet on that game. So we watched that game. That was two not good teams to me. Like, I thought Oregon is going to maybe turn a corner at some point of this year, but I don't think it's going to happen. Like, Oregon is not that good. They have plenty of chances to win that game. They had a breakdown to let the game winner even happen. That shot shouldn't even have got off in the first place. They missed free throws down the stretch. I just really don't believe in this Stanford team. Harrison Ingram, I think, is great, but besides that, just not really a fan of this team overall. I don't think I'll ever get past the fact that they get McDonald's All-Americans and just give them a season of losing in education and a life in Palo Alto. But yeah, it's too many points. I can't feel good on the inside saying that I bet Stanford to cover 13 points. I can't.
Yeah. No, first of all, free Harrison Ingram. I really loved Harrison.
Free my guy, man. We're going to get you out of there.
Go somewhere. Please go somewhere. Here's a few quick numbers I pulled on this. Stanford, just in general, gives up a lot of threes. Dartmouth, their best player, Brendan Barry, averaging 9 3-point attempts a game, shooting 43% from three. This dude can fill it up. And this is a defense that will give up shots to him. Stanford's 5-0 at home, but if you look at those 5 wins, other than the Oregon win, and even including the Oregon win, the average KenPom rank of the teams they've beaten at home is 202, and they've won those games by an average of 11 points. That's sort of Dartmouth range here. Stanford hasn't won a game by more than 14 all season. Dartmouth beat Georgetown. I really wish this number would get up to 14. That's where I want to see it because, like I said, Stanford has not won a game by more than 14 this season. But at 13, I think I'm still leaving Dartmouth. I might wait it out throughout the day and see if it at least gets back up to that 13.5, but it's a play for me.
Yeah, I want to know what sick individuals are making this come down. Why is money pouring in on Stanford? Have some respect for
No, it's the opposite. Money's coming in on Dartmouth.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Down. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Damn it. Should have got on it early. But for any of you out there who like to get in teaser territory, this is a great game to throw in a teaser. If you can get it up to like 20 points, feel great about that.
Yeah, very true. All right, moving to game number 6, UMBC, the Golden Retrievers, and UNC Greensboro. The line that I see right now is -2.5 for UMBC, the over-under at 137. Two teams that clash stylistically pretty big here. UMBC plays very fast, 37th quickest tempo in the country. Greensboro, very slow, 347th quickest tempo in the country. It's always interesting when a fast team plays a slow team, especially when they're similar talent-wise. Like, I feel like if they're similar talent-wise, it usually leans to the slower team's advantage, unless the faster team has a lot more talent or a lot more shot makers. Then sometimes they can just run them out. For that reason, just initially, my first thought was UNC Greensboro in this game. Throw it to you, though. Where do you stand on this one?
Yeah, I kind of was leaning towards UNC Greensboro because, like you said, when you have a stylistic clash, it's about having players and personnel that can realize that you have to play your style to beat this team. Like, you can never, in my experience, you can't outdo a team at what they do best if that's not what you do. So if you're a team that's good defensively and you try to play up tempo when that's not your style, it just throws everything off. You don't have the personnel for it. You don't have the players for it. And that's how you lose games. I personally think that UNC Greensboro is a team that has shown this year and historically that they play their style of basketball no matter what. So in a game where I think that they won't let UMBC speed them up, I think they'll play their style of basketball. It'll be a little more gritty, maybe not as talented, but more gritty, play their defensive style, slow this game down. So I'm leaning UNC Greensboro on this game. And also, I got a French Bulldog. I don't really mess with Golden Retrievers like that, except for Benji. Sorry.
I got to say, I feel like it's an omen that your French Bulldog, who began the show on your lap, is now nowhere to be seen. And we're talking about a dog here.
He's sleeping on my lap.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe UMBC sleeps tonight then. Is that a little stretch? I don't know. One more number on this game. UMBC against teams 200 or worse in KenPom this year. They're 1-3 in those games. That's tempo. Against teams that play a tempo slower than 200, they are 1-3 against slow teams. Greensboro against teams that play fast, a tempo 100th or higher, is 2-1. I like Greensboro in this game. You put me on Greensboro last year, and I think I still have a little love. Maybe it's just the uniforms. They have some pretty nice uniforms.
They do have some, and also shout out Isaiah Miller.
And to answer the question in the chat from when we did Chat Mob, because I like UNC Greensboro plus 2.5 in this game, I also like the under, because I think if they do win this game, or at least keep it close, they're going to win out stylistically. So, all right, Cart, let's get to best bets. I think we probably touched on our best bets today at some point, but we did a pretty good job of hiding it for this final segment. What's your best bet today, my friend?
And I'm going to go back to my first one of the day. You might have been able to tell how excited I was about it, but Duke minus 21.5. I think this is a rout at Cameron. Like I said earlier, I don't think that App State will be able to, one, stop Duke from scoring. And if Duke misses it, they're going to get it back. This team, App State, doesn't have the height. They don't have the rebounding. They don't have the grit to rebound with this Duke team, keep it with the athleticism, the height. I think this is a rout at 21.5. I still feel very safe about this. I think this is going to be a 25 plus dub. It could easily get in the 30 range if they keep their foot on the gas. Nothing to look forward to as far as, looking beyond this game. They got about a week and a half, week-ish off after this before they start ACC play. One last home game against a, App State team that I don't think is very good. So I think they run away with this game and pretty easily. So Duke minus 21.5 is my best bet of the day.
Who sweats more, Paolo Banchero in the first half or you at the end of a men's league game?
Me at the end of the men's league game, because I definitely drink more than Paolo Banchero.
That's true. All right, I'll get to my best bet here. I mentioned I like this one earlier as well. I'm going with Oral Roberts minus 7.5 at home against UT Arlington. Like I said, I think the matchup just bodes beautifully for Oral Roberts. They're going to get a ton of threes up against a defense that begs teams to shoot the three. I bet a lot of these are going to be open threes. I think UT Arlington's going to have to start shooting threes, which they shoot very poorly just to keep up. I smell a blowout incoming on this one. And I think it's time Oral Roberts gets a big blowout win, which they haven't really had despite doing really well against the spread this season.
I like that play. Did we agree on all of our plays today?
We've done this show twice, and I think we agreed pretty much every play both times.
No, last time you took Butler.
I did take Butler. You're right.
You did but that was a lot. But that was some hate, though. I think. I don't think that was a real actual play.
It was maybe for content purposes.
We are different on IUPUI and Chicago State, though.
That's very true. Do you want to let Pierre say any final words before we wrap up here?
Shout out my son, Pierre DeMarcus Elliott, first of his name, French Bulldog. He's that boy. Also, shout out to Three Man Weave on the Best Bet Show. We watch it all the time. I'm starting to think there's a theory that they take the days off with the slates aren't that great. And let's just give it to the sleepers media. No 3-man weave. Give it to the pick and roll guys. I don't even know the two-man game, whatever you want to call it. But we appreciate them. Appreciate the Field of 68. Come win some money with us, man. Go download BetRivers and just win some. We're making it easy for y'all. That's all I'm saying. If you're not into sports betting, we're doing the research for you. We're telling you where to place the bets. I mean, we're basically holding your hand virtually. So we got y'all. Don't worry about it.
Where else can you watch a man who got a haircut 35 minutes ago hold a French Bulldog on his lap for 35 minutes?
That is facts. That's big.
Only at the Field of 68. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I believe Best Bets will be back tomorrow. Unless I'm wrong, then I apologize on that. But tap in, 3-man weave, Sleepers Media. We are out.